Virginia goes to Duke in a matchup that has major ACC championship title game implications, and Virginia aced the test in a way I honestly didn't expect them to, while picking them to win this game. You get up 31-3 at some point late in this game. You're dominating both lines of the scrimmage. Your offensive line is doing a fantastic job of protecting Chandler Morris. He doesn't get sacked all day. You're creating running lanes for Jamari Taylor, who finishes with 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then you end up sacking him 4 times, including a strip sack. You're in his face all day, just throwing off his timing. You never let that explosive Duke passing attack get off the ground, as well as you bottle up Nate Shepard. It's hard. I won't say that. This is the second best game UVA's played all season. This was easily their best game they played since the Florida State game. It was a very impressive showing, and it kind of made me rethink how I viewed this Cavaliers team as okay, yeah, they can play high ceiling football. They can be a legitimately good team. They have legitimate dudes on this team. Trell Harris, I already talked about Jamari Taylor. Chandler Morris, sure, he threw 2 picks. You don't love that, but he was back there making plays with his leg, extending, moving the pocket, hitting guys on the run, and then also just dealing from the pocket. And then for Duke, it's just kind of like yet another letdown. And it's letdown after letdown after letdown, and now you somehow have 5 losses, and that feels crazy to say given the talent and the profile of this offense. But that's where you're at. Y'all have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, you talk about Darian Mensah and his explosive offense kind of being shut down. He was averaging 310 passing yards per game, and they hold him to 213. He was completing 70% of his passes. He completes just barely above 50%, 18 for 35. And he had 24 touchdowns on the year, and he only has 1 through the air in this game. Also, in his last 4 games, he had been averaging roughly 8 yards per completion. They only give up 6, so no big plays over the top to the Duke receivers, and that is just a testament to Virginia being ready for Duke. And I do have to tell you why Duke lost this game, and it was because they got shut down offensively. It was not, like Jack said, a turnover fest where they were either turning the other team over or turning it over themselves. Chandler Morris did what the 3 games that Virginia had been really kind of in games that he had finished, games that they had been competitive in and lost, which was NC State, the double overtime victory over Florida State, and the overtime victory over North Carolina. He had 2 picks in each of those games. He has 2 picks against Duke, and it doesn't end up mattering.
Yeah.
Total credit to Virginia for the way that they came to play and were ready to play in that game. They're able to get a ton on the ground as well. Jamari Taylor has another great game with 18 carries and 133 yards. And then even the second back, Harrison Whaley, has 60 yards on the ground. I completely agree. It's one of Virginia's best performances of the year. It sucks that last week happened now because you'd be fully in the driver's seat at 7-0 in the ACC.
With potentially still an at-large bid.
Absolutely.
As a chance of that. It really does suck that it got hurt. But you hit 9 wins, which is rarefied air for UVA, and now you have a chance to get to 10 if you beat your rivals, Virginia Tech, which would make this one of the best seasons for UVA football ever.
It's
so
one of the
things
really
really exciting.
I hate that we don't get enough of, which is just perspective of how these programs have been for years and years and years. It's one of the things with Indiana I don't think is being talked about enough.
Yeah.
That's a basketball school. They've had I think they've had 1 or 2 winning seasons since 2005.
This is already their best season ever. Basically.
And they haven't even finished it. They're 11-0. So for Virginia, 9 wins is a credit. I'm pretty sure with the tie-breaking, the way it plays out, I don't know really, to be honest. Virginia and Georgia Tech have the driver's seat to the ACC championship.
Which I hope they win out because that would be a very fun.
It would be a very, very fun
game.
one. Chandler Morris versus Haynes King up in Charlotte. I'd be really excited
Contrasting
to see that.
Styles.
And a playoff bid on the line for both of those teams. Virginia handled their business, and you have to give them a ton of credit. It's not it's a big road victory because Duke has no crowd, and they again had no crowd in this game. Yep. Virginia just has the rivalry game against Virginia Tech. Of course, Georgia Tech will play Pitt this weekend in Atlanta in their actual stadium, Bobby Dodd, and not the Georgia. I missed the Georgia. Mercedes-Benz.
Sure.
So Georgia Tech's got one more ACC game, as does Virginia, but they're both at home and they'll be favored in each of those games. So this is more than likely your ACC championship matchup. And as Jack said, it'll be a really, really fun one.
Will that Pitt versus Georgia Tech game be for a spot in the ACC championship?
I think so.
Essentially,
yes.
Pitt has another ACC game left after that. Miami.
They play Miami at the
So
end of the
never-
year,
not
so
at all.
It's
It
not,
will
it's
not
not
at all.
guaranteed.
I take that back. But Pitt theoretically controls their own destiny.
True.
Like, you have to win the Georgia Tech game for the Miami game to even really matter. But yeah, you said UVA handled business, and that's the best way to put it. They handled business so much that this game was barely talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And the last funny thing is Duke finally actually wins the turnover battle in a high-profile game, and you still lose. It just doesn't matter. I mean, you got a pick six, and it just doesn't matter because the offense wasn't there, and the defense just kind of got manhandled.
Yeah. And the other teams at one loss, it's SMU and it's Pitt. As Sanders mentioned, Pitt plays at Georgia Tech and then hosts Miami. SMU is one loss. They host Louisville this weekend. Louisville coming off their loss.
Great game.
And then they have to go all the way out to Cal. So nothing is guaranteed there either. Georgia Tech and Virginia look like it'll be the easiest path for them going home, assuming they can handle business. One for Virginia in the rivalry game against the Hokies.
Which I think that's at UVA.
It's
I'm
at
almost
UVA,
positive.
yes. It's at home. And then Georgia Tech, can they handle business against Pitt after the way they looked against Notre Dame this weekend? But all credit to the Cavaliers.
Well, they weren't trying that game because it didn't matter.
Maybe, yeah. Hopefully.
You did see that press conference, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
About how
the Pitt
he
one,
wanted
yes.
to lose 100 to 10 or something.
Absolutely, I
He
saw
didn't
that
care
one.
if he did, yeah. It's funny.
Do you have ties to JMU, like actual ties?
My
or
only
you just like
ties is that,
They're nearby.
I lived about 40 miles
Yeah.
away from Harrisonburg, if that. And so half my high school class and therefore a good chunk of my friends
Okay, so you
go
have
to
ties.
JMU.
You have
so
ties.
I have ties.
I have ties technically that way to Georgia Tech. So that would mean
I get excited when they win because my friends get excited when they win.
absolutely. You would love JMU to be in, and so you may have 3 of your teams
That'd be
in
crazy.
the playoff.
Yeah.
That would be really,
'Cause
really
I mean,
crazy.
my dad went to UVA, which y'all know. But fun fact, he was there when they were number 1 in football
That's awesome.
for the only time ever, which they ended up losing, so nothing really came of it. But a wild time to be there.
Sanders, you have how many teams that are going to make the playoff that are yours?
0.
Probably
Okay.
1, I think. Assuming
Yeah.
Alabama beats Auburn.
Yeah, if Bama beats Auburn, then that should be.
You're in pretty
I'll-
good shape there.
I'll have 2 personally with Georgia Tech, and now I just BYU. Sorry,
Yeah.
BYU, my other team, which I have ties to, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Plenty of ties.
Those would be my 2 teams, but we hope to see JMU and of course, and then Virginia's got to handle business against Georgia Tech, that'll be a fun game.